Dr. Coleman, can you please explain our flipped classroom environment and how it prepares students for clerkships and licensing examinations?
Many of our sessions, not all of them, but a lot of our sessions are what's called the flipped classroom. And this is really an approach to invoke more active learning. Kind of slightly different things, but there's a lot of overlap there. And so with the flipped classroom model, we actually have a lot of pre-session materials and just work that is allowed to get you up to speed before you come into the actual session that we're having for the day. So how do we do that? Well, one thing, we have a lot of what we call white space, but just a lot of time for independent study that's built into the curriculum. So we maximize to where there's only about 20 hours a week or so for these students are actually in the classroom or in a PCC, a clinical setting. And so that gives that there's always a lot of time for the students to take advantage of so that they can get through the material before they come into the session. And that way, when they come in, we don't have to start with the basics, the fundamentals, but we can actually elevate it right away into a more clinical scenario. So we can then have some multiple choice questions that go through some clinical scenarios, and then we can answer it, see who knows the answers, and then we can have a discussion that follows up to fine tune that knowledge on that information. And instead of having to go through all these nitty-gritty details, the students are supposed to come in mostly prepared with the basics of that. And then, like I say, we get to elevate it so that what we're discussing in class is medicine, right? Not just the basics of hoping to get to the medicine someday. And I will say that one of the things in anatomy, we do a little bit more of a active didactic style, where there will be a little bit more of lecturing per se, but then we do a lot of palpation experiments. We work with the models a lot. And so I'm really big about when I'm talking about a gland or a ligament or a muscle or whatever, I like to have the students to physically feel those out, find the landmarks, find it, so that when they go into their physician-centered care applications, then they can actually, or patient-centered care applications, they can actually know where it is they're supposed to be auscultating if they want to know the mitral valve, or if they want to, be able to palpate the pulmonary, or hear the pulmonary trunk, or the upper sphere lobe of the right lung. So we definitely have a little bit more of that as well, but definitely active all the time and mostly flipped environments.